Alright, this is P.O.C. I'm at Ontario Town Square. It's currently 8:59 p.m. And of course the state that's monitoring is engaged in serious attempts to try to obstruct my ability to publish. This is documentation about federal group stalking and monitoring by West Valley Jail deputies who engaged in not only kidnapping, that is criminally detaining me, having no legal right to after I was kidnapped by Ontario police on September 25th. Ontario police engaged in taking me to West Valley, where they engaged in the pattern of conduct, criminal obstruction, and that is why these are the clothes I had on that the deputies cut off. This is Deputy Bellamy, a white female, badge number 2623. Deputy Sharp, badge number 2919, and Deputy Dominguez. And again, I am on the facility cameras inside of booking cell number 3. I am waiting to be classified and to get my clothing to go to what should be general population in order to obviate that procedure, that ordinary process. What is on the camera is the criminal conduct of the state, and that is not only do they have the medical workers engage in physically appearing at the cell and just stating my name. I don't know them, never spoke with them. So they say Erica, and I'm like, what do you want? And I also referenced the cameras the entire time. I was documenting the entire time I was kidnapped inside of the jail. And they said, Erica, come here, let me talk to you. And I refused to talk to them. And then they literally walked away. That is all that was exchanged. That was a visual for the cameras in order to appear outwardly as though I have spoken with mental health. I have never spoken with them. They have no legal consent. You were talking about that, which is a matter of also kidnapping. It is everything that the state is engaged in is there's a litany of criminal conduct from the outset. The entire act that I am documenting begins with criminal conduct and ends with criminal conduct by the state. And you see how medical workers are intrinsic to that criminal system, engaging in purposefully appearing out of nowhere while I'm sitting in a booking cell waiting to be called to be classified. Instead of engaging in the ordinary process, what they do is they take me off camera outside of booking cell number 3 into cell number 4, which is across from outer cell number 2. So they take me to a different area off camera, and they place me inside. And under, as I tell them that I'm not going to put on the uniform for a mental ward, I'm not going to a mental ward, they engage in, Deputy Bellamy handcuffs me. And then all 3 of those deputies, Dominguez, Sharp, and Bellamy, enter the cell, and they forcefully place me on my knees, and they cut off my clothes. And so this, I just want to show, I don't have any scissors. I would not cut off my clothes. I do not have a whole bunch of clothes to be cutting up stuff. And this is on the facility cameras. It's clear that that's what happened. I'm just documenting this because I'm going to publish this. This is my Miami Law Study Abroad t-shirt. These are the black pants that I had on. This is what I had on when the Ontario police officers kidnapped me from Economy Inn, a third-party facilitating venue, engaged in criminally summoning the police, who also denied the fact that they called the police. That is a pattern by the state as well, denying or acting as though they have no idea why they're there, but they're there, and they're also focused on me at the same time that they're there, and they're claiming to have a warrant in a fictitious case. So at West Valley Jail, they are engaged in that this is criminal defamation. This is sexual assault and battery in order to engage in criminal defamation. This is exceedingly violent and extreme conduct by the deputies in the jail. And understand, defamation is the pattern of conduct. It is criminal obstruction. Criminal obstruction is the pattern of conduct for federal group stalking and monitoring. You are engaging in criminal obstruction when you are a group stalker. The state's pattern of conduct is designed to insulate itself from exposure and prosecution. And how do they do that? By defaming the targeted individual, seeking to establish the fact, depict them as one suffering from some mental illness that does not exist. And this is documentation in addition to that which is on the cameras. That is crucial documentation inside of the facility at West Valley Jail, okay? But in addition to that, this is my own, which I want to publish. This is the deputies that cut my clothing off of my person, and then I was placed into a mental ward. I was on September 26th. Again, that's in the early, well, in the afternoon, really. I sat in the cells for hours. They were just stalling, monitoring the entire time, and stalling because they wanted me to sign a citation dated back to January 13th, which I refused to sign. And so I was fully expecting to go to jail and prepared to do so because I know that it is a fake case. It is a false charge. The police engaged in criminal conduct at the origin. The police on January 13th engaged in stalking, the state flying over me by airplane, which I captured in a picture, and then they arrest me. That was kidnapping, having no right. That's the Ontario Police kidnapping on January 13th. On February 18th, Lisa Rogan in Department R11 in Rancho Cucamonga Courthouse engaging in kidnapping me, engaging in a fictitious prosecution. That is the that is the criminal abuse of the legal process, which they do so in order to engage in criminal obstruction. Okay, criminal obstruction is a pattern of conduct of federal group stalking and monitoring. They do so in order to conceal the fact that the state is engaged in monitoring you and targeting you and plan to depict you, defame you, place you into a mental ward in order to silence you, okay? Criminal obstruction is P.O.C. That is what Lisa Rogan engaged in addition to kidnapping, while she is monitoring me in concert with the third parties on camera in that courtroom. The police third parties surround the district attorney's office. I mean, it was P.O.C. City at that courthouse on February 18th where Lisa Rogan did not give me a trial in that fictitious prosecution, okay? F. Ramos is the named DA on that quote-unquote complaint. And the F. Ramos is named as the DA on the Declaration of Probable Cause. This is an absolutely fake name. It does not exist. It is not on the California bar site. This is not a real person working for the San Bernardino County District Attorney's Office. This is a fictitious name. It is a fake name. It is a fictitious prosecution. While the state is engaged in criminal conduct, it is that which is designed to result in what is my ultimate confinement in a mental ward indefinitely. That is the intention of engaging in a fictitious prosecution. And that is exactly what Lisa Rogan intended to do on February 18th when she did not give me a trial, when she immediately took me into custody, engaging in criminal conduct, stating in that courtroom while she's monitoring me. Understand, everything she's saying is also audible activity. This woman is a criminal who is monitoring me in the courthouse, okay? And she is also facilitating that criminal monitoring, as she states in that courtroom, that she is having me committed, and that she is taking me into custody because I would not submit to being committed outside of custody, having no right to do so in any instance whatsoever. I mean, blatant criminal conduct. And so this is my documentation of the state. Okay, that is being kidnapped on February 18th, again on September 25th at Economy Inn. Right, I'm documenting the helicopter flying in front of me, the planes flying directly next to me over Economy Inn, the owners of Economy Inn engaging in patrolling, engaging in creating audible activity. All they're doing is engaging in monitoring. And then they criminally summon the police, who are always present. They are always present in relevant position. They engage in being visibly present. So the third parties engage in criminal summoning, providing form, facilitating P.O.C. By summoning them and having no legal right to do so. Documentation using my cell phone. I can use my cell phone just like they're using their cell phone. I can use my cell phone, creating no disturbance, breaking no law. And by the way, when the state is the criminal, it is absolutely necessary. And it is your only recourse because the state is not available as far as has no intention to provide you any due process, to provide you any way of prosecuting the state for engaging in this. So documentation is the only way. Okay, and the state is adamant and diligent in seeking to obstruct your ability to do so. This is the criminal conduct of the state. And again, criminally summoning the state. Those are the owners at Economy Inn who summon Ontario police, who are documented on my Facebook Live, September 25th at 11:03, when they're approaching me and having no reason to do so, but they know exactly who I am, and they cite a warrant referencing a fictitious prosecution for which there was never any trial. And I sat in a mental ward based on the criminal activity of Lisa Rogan. Okay, and so this is September 25th. I'm kidnapped. September 26th, after I sat in a booking cell and then a holding cell for hours, they handcuffed me, placed me on my knees, cut my clothes off, till I'm nude, and they place me in the mental ward clothing. That is a sexual assault and battery by the deputies while they are monitoring. Understand, they're touching, they're creating audible activity. I am yelling, I am engaging in creating activity. This is criminal monitoring. The state is present, flying over the facility, monitoring at everywhere I'm moving. The system goes where I'm going. So I am subject to ongoing group stalking and monitoring while they are engaging in criminal obstruction, seeking to defame me, cutting, even to the point of cutting off my clothes. And I kept it in order to document. This is proof of it. I did not cut off my own clothes. I'm in the jail. I can't cut it off, and I'm clearly on the facility cameras with my clothes on, okay, while I'm being held in the cell, while the inmates are engaging in documented P.O.C. in the booking cells, okay. They are monitoring with the state. It is P.O.C. continuously, okay, and the documentation inside of that facility is crucial against the state while I was subject to kidnapping. And in addition to that, what I also want to show, I already created a video, but the state is engaged in trying to stop me from publishing this, and so this is why I'm doing a live right now. This is what I published on the cameras inside of West Valley Jail, and this is speaking to what I was documenting. P.O.C. Kara Hudson engaged in kidnapping, and Misha Moss engaged in Misha Moss, bar number 297372. October 14, 2020, they engaged in the criminal act of entertaining a fake case, a fake prosecution, for the criminal purpose of basically trying to make procedural sense out of the clear criminal act of Lisa Rogan on February 18th, which they cannot. All they do is make up hearings. They make up names, they make up events, they make up information in order to try to make procedural sense out of what occurred. And this is them on October 14th, and this is the sign that I made while I was kidnapped inside of the jail, and I held it up on the cameras inside of the jail, naming the judge engaged in kidnapping. She's engaged in the criminal obstruction of engaging in criminal abuse of the legal process. That is the fictitious case. All right, this is Misha Moss engaging in the same, acting as some quote-unquote public defender. You hear those sirens in the background? That is the state that's listening to me document, trying to distract, but also monitoring me, okay? This is all intentional conduct. All right, this is the sign that I held up inside of the facility on the cameras. And then I want you to read all of it. Resuming a fake case 9 months after I was quote-unquote arraigned, right, for a PC 148A1, which is a false charge. I never had any trial, and I was forced into the ward. This is February 18th, right, and by medical workers who engaged in lying, misrepresentation of fact, and also defamation, stating in writing. Defamation by the medical workers, defamation by West Valley Jail. They are acting in concert to conceal state monitoring by the police, by the court, and by the jail. And I also cited the law 18 U.S.C. Section 42A, which is federal stalking. They are using means of interstate commerce, and this is a violation of federal law. I stated the fact that they kidnapped and defamed me by placing me into the ward. This is what I held up on the cameras inside of the jail. And I also identified myself by my booking number 20093422298. And my bar number 306971, and my last name Spencer. This is what I held up on the cameras inside of the facility at West Valley while I was inside of area area 15, cell E6. So I was at 15, E as in Edward, 6, and that was my only means of communicating the fact that I was kidnapped. They would not even let me out of the cell in order to get my daily tier time. You know, you call it your time out of the cell that you get to use the kiosk. Maybe you want to put in a grievance. Maybe you want to order commissary. They would not even let me out of the cell. This is also on camera. Everything that I am saying is verified on the facility cameras. I was engaged in constant documentation of federal group stalking and monitoring inside of West Valley. Understand, the inmates are the people of the state of California inside of that jail, acting with the state, the deputies and the medical workers. I want you to look at this while I'm talking, because this is symbolic of what they did. They cut off my clothes. The inmates acting with the deputies and the medical workers. Understand, this is demonic activity. which I also clarified, demonic activity while they are engaging in a satanic targeting system inside of the jail. This is why they kidnap me. This is why they put me in a mental ward. This is why they do so by force, okay? Having no legal right to arrest me, that's a kidnapping. Having no legal right to put me in a mental ward, that's the criminal defamation, serving a criminal purpose to conceal its engagement in criminal monitoring. That's what this is. That's why they are engaging in that. Again, I want to stress that was Deputy Sharp, badge number 2919, also engaging in poisoning me. They poisoned my food on October 21st. Deputy Sharp is on camera serving me that meal in the styrofoam food case. After I ate that meal, you have the deputies, Deputy Carter, badge number 3205, white male, and Deputy Jason Young, badge number 3108. You have, I'm sorry, that was the different date. The next day, Deputy Young joined. It was Deputy Syfix 3321, Deputy Carter 3205, Deputy badge number 2278 or 2778. I have documented all of this. It was a group of deputies that came to my cell. Understand, they are focused on me, that entire area, that entire unit. They're all engaged in monitoring. And so what they engage in is on camera, appearing as though they are engaging in ordinary duties. This is demonic activity. This is the same pattern. They're engaging in demonic activity, outwardly appearing as though they are engaging in the ordinary duties and functions of the jail while they are engaged in criminal monitoring. And that is what I was pointing out, how all three elements of criminal monitoring remain present, including the state stalking by light inside of the unit. Absolutely impossible light activity, pointing horizontally downward into the area, into area 15, even into the depths of my cell. Absolutely impossible and asinine. I mean, ridiculous criminal activity and clear, and understand that stalking with light, that is demonic, okay? That is demonic activity. While the state is engaging in stalking with light because they are monitoring with communication devices. The state engaging in flying directly over my cell, amplifying the sound of airplanes while I'm in the cell. Okay, they're monitoring me and they are defaming me while I'm inside of that mental ward. And I engaged in constant documentation of that demonic activity by the deputies, by the medical workers, by the inmates inside of West Valley Jail, where I remained kidnapped from September 25th until December 3rd, okay? Even holding up signs in order to document on camera the fact that I am there illegally. Being inside of that facility is a means and was a means of crucial documentation where the state is engaged in kidnapping the targeted individual. Not only are they exercising control over your property, they're exercising control over your documentation. And understand, third parties claiming to have control. Third parties are vicariously present and acting on behalf of the state. That is the same entity controlling your property, stealing your property, because my property has not been returned to me. I have stuff that is missing, okay, since I was kidnapped by Ontario police on September 25th. And this is the state that is engaged in controlling your documentation that you are collecting in order to prosecute them, okay? This is the ultimate threat posed by that public entity. Where the state is engaged in kidnapping, understand the prosecution of the state is not going to be limited to documentation. Direct testimony by that targeted individual is sufficient. That is sufficient to prosecute. And not only that, if you're talking about an instance where I was in jail and the deputies engaged in actually stealing my documentation, returning it to me later at a late date, but that was an unsure thing, and that is something that also informed what is the SIIS legislation, the policy and how you prosecute a public entity engaging in federal group stalking and monitoring, where you are engaging in kidnapping, mandatory prison time, and that is that which poses a direct threat to the physical safety and the well-being of the targeted individual. Kidnapping, you're talking about federal group stalking is an ongoing violent sexual offense. You're not being sexually violated by that one person or by those three people. It is group conduct. It is exceptionally violent sexual attack when you are being monitored, when you are being stripped of your clothing, when you're being monitored while you're physically exposed, while they are listening to the exposure of your genitalia while you use the bathroom. It is exceedingly perverted, okay, when you break down what the state is engaged in. The state is a sex offender. That's what that comes down to. This is what this is legally revealing. And where kidnapping is within the fact pattern, documentation, whether you have it or you do not, you can still prosecute the state of California, and testimony alone is sufficient. That facility's cameras is sufficient. That is documentation. Everywhere that the targeted individual goes is a matter of documentation. You are talking about the government that is actually working vicariously through the people of the state. And what is also ubiquitous are surveillance cameras. And they serve the same purpose. They actually serve a very vital purpose of documenting what is group stalking everywhere that you go at all times. And that serves the same purposes when you are documenting and prosecuting the state of California. And that is something that informed being kidnapped is what is informing that policy. SIIS legislation, again, that is systematic infliction of inhumane suffering, legislation that serves to address the every tactic of the federal group stalking system, the state that is engaging in it, that the state designed in order to seek to ultimately evade permanently ever being prosecuted and exposed, because the system itself is designed to literally eliminate and dismiss the targeted individual from society, dismissing them as suffering from some mental illness that does not exist. And this is my documentation showing the ways in which they do so: kidnapping you, placing you in a mental ward. And I have been kidnapped multiple times, okay? Again, Jason Knighton on January 13th, Ontario Police Officer 80509 with L Keys. That was while the airplane is flying over me and while they are engaged in the pattern of conduct of stalking by police, okay? And then they kidnap me. And the entire route that they're driving me to West Valley Jail, they're monitoring in concert with third parties who surround in traffic while they're creating light activity in the car, and the state is following by airplane, literally staying in step in my window, monitoring as the police are transporting me to West Valley Jail, okay? That's a kidnapping. And then kidnapped again on February 18th by Lisa Rogan, not giving me a trial in what was a fictitious prosecution, all right? And how do you know it's fictitious? Not only the fact that I'm telling you about F. Ramos being a fake name, but the fact that when I was again kidnapped on September 25th by Ontario police, while I was again documenting the helicopter and the airplane flying over Economy Inn at 2301 South Euclid Avenue, while the police show up engaging in group stalking and monitoring. Understand, that's P.O.C. in the background. The state just provides more and more documentation. This is while they are engaging in that conduct, while I'm on camera inside of area 9C, I'm in 9C7, the deputy comes and provides the option to, well, he tried to make me go to arraignment court. I understand, an arraignment is distinct and in direct conflict with the claim of having a warrant in a case that has already been to arraignment on January 17th with Shannon Faherty, not a judge, misrepresenting herself as a judge, having no consent from me. I didn't waive any right for her to hear it. She's a lawyer. She is on the bar, not listed as a judge. And she engaged in a fictitious prosecution on January 17th when she quote-unquote arraigned me. And Kimberly Appaloo, a criminal, also on January, that was 28th, engaging in the fictitious prosecution in her courtroom while she was monitoring me, engaging in criminal abuse of the legal process, while placing me on probation in a fictitious case where Vanessa Rodriguez and Laura Alvarez engaging in that same criminal system. Mohammed Reza Ronagi, an attorney that I have worked with in the past in Los Angeles, representing himself as a district attorney, prosecuting me in a fictitious case. I know this man personally because I worked with him at the law offices of Michael Bialis when I worked in West Hills, California, back in August 2018. I resigned on October 31st, 2018. Okay? He briefly worked with Michael Bialis' law office, but I worked with him. I ran into him in the courts as I went about my business, working on doing criminal defense on behalf of clients with Michael Bialis' office, and this same person is representing themselves as the district attorney in this case. That is a fictitious case, naming a fake person as the DA, and Mohammed Reza Ronagi, he's known as Reza, that's what we called him, Reza, and he is representing himself as the district attorney in this case, and I know him personally. Now, even if it were a real case, he is conflicted. Okay, he would not be able to engage in participation in the case. Okay, this is a personal threat to me. His participation in what is a fictitious act, a criminal act by the officers of the court, by the judge, by the state that is seeking to defame me and put me in a mental ward, and doing that through a fake prosecution, a fictitious prosecution, and doing so through people that I know, that I have worked with in the past. This is intentional conduct. This is the malicious conduct of this entity that I'm prosecuting. Mohammed Reza Ronagi, documented on cameras, inside of the camera, monitoring me in concert with every other third party, with every other state actor, that is the judges and the officers of the court, all of them acting in concert. Okay, Kimberly Appaloo, January 28th, placed on probation. Okay, and this is followed by Kyle Brody, criminal, a judge, a criminal, engaging in monitoring me, acting in concert with Laura Leticia Alvarez, a quote-unquote public defender, not representing my interests, monitoring me, harassing me, okay, assaulting me. This is on camera. Acting in concert with Mohammed Reza Ronagi, representing himself as a district attorney in this fictitious prosecution. Okay, a personalized method of attacking me and defaming me and seeking to dismiss me, have me put in a mental ward while they feign a prosecution in a court of law. This is criminal activity by the court. Okay, and this is the Rancho Cucamonga courthouse. This is Kyle Brody on February 7th and February 14th, after the Ontario police held onto my property again, criminally holding onto my property after kidnapping me, and then the officers of the court acting like they're ready for trial, and I had to bring it to their interests. And this is all documented, that they are not ready for trial to represent my interests, because discovery is not possibly complete when my property remained in the illegal possession of Ontario police, who denied me the right to immediately gather my property after I was released from being kidnapped again by the Ontario police. I was released from the Central Detention Center, the exact same criminal pattern of conduct, the state flying over the cell, the state flying over by helicopter and airplane, amplified in volume inside of the cell, light activity in front of the cell, the deputies and the inmates acting in concert to monitor. Okay, this is ongoing documentation. This same case, Mary Wendy Victor 200000640. This same case, February 18th, Lisa Rogan. Okay, you're talking about Shannon Faye Herty, Kimberly Appaloo, Kyle Brody, and then the fourth person to engage in acting as though they are presiding over a fictitious case. She's a criminal. Okay, and not only that, that is a blatant violation of my rights of due process. Being subbed, I have a right to be my case be heard by the same judge. Laura Leticia Alvarez, Vanessa Rodriguez did not raise that. They have no interest in representing my interest. They are criminals engaging in the same criminal system. Understand? And that they are direct actors of the state. These are the ones engaging in criminal obstruction in the court. They are engaging so because the aim is to defame you and have you placed in a mental ward where they know that you are documenting the state engaged in federal group stalking and monitoring. Understand that is the exact same pattern of conduct. They are all monitoring in the court. They are engaged in the same demonic activity, okay? The same demonic influence operating over all of them, okay? The same pattern of conduct. And this is Lisa Rogan on February 18th, who does not give me a trial. She has me taken into custody and stating that she's having me committed, having no right to do so. And this is followed by the placement back into jail. That's being kidnapped, having no legal right to do so. A criminal obstruction. In order to stop and prevent documentation. Okay, and this is February 18th, where I'm immediately ushered to West Valley Jail. February 19th, I'm what they call quote-unquote fish-lined to Glen Helen Rehabilitation Center, where I remain. And on the cameras inside of that facility, I mean, it was P.O.C. headquarters, ongoing, constant stalking by light activity. That is ongoing light activity. Seemingly almost every single light inside of dorm 1 where I was flickering. They're monitoring. All of them are monitoring. The inmates engaging in ongoing activity creation, stalking with their presence everywhere that I go, stalking, monitoring while I'm in the bathroom. This is the ongoing sexual violation by group. All right, the state is monitoring. The state is flying over the facility. The state is amplifying all sound. The jail is creating light activity inside. The state is stalking with light, directing light inside of the day room area, and this is impossible light activity appearing on top at the heights of the wall. Deputy Smith, Deputy Mendoza, Deputy Rodriguez, many of them that I have documented engaged in what is a sexual touching. That is placing the flashlight on your person. This is analogous to what third parties do with their headlights. They are not only monitoring, they are touching your person, and they are not touching as an individual. This is group touching. Okay, you're talking about legally and analyzing it. That is a severely violent group molestation of your person by a stalker, by a group of stalkers who are monitoring you. Okay, that is no different from any other type of sexual violation. Understand, it is an egregious violation of the ordinary sensibilities of the targeted individual, whom the state has no right to touch in any manner with any instrument of criminal monitoring. Light is the crucial element, the first element of criminal monitoring, and they engage in touching your person as a stalker, as a threatening criminal actor, monitoring you through the multiplicity of different faces and then touching your person while doing so. Okay, that is an egregious violation of the person. And that is a sexual aspect of touching. This is how they're engaging in demonic activity, engaging in sexual violation of your person. That's what it is, while outwardly appearing as though they're not physically touching you. And this is how the state is engaging in, under the false premise that they will never be prosecuted. All right. And so I am demonstrating how and documenting how the state is engaged in severely violent sexual conduct while they are monitoring as well. So this is inside of Glen Helen. Okay, I'm just going through the history because it's relevant to what happened on September 25th. Inside of Glen Helen Rehabilitation Center, I'm with the general population. March 6th is when I am subject to defamation. This is when the medical workers begin targeting me, asking me, do I want to speak with them? I clearly communicate no. They engage in misrepresentation of fact and defame me, stating that they have diagnosed me, having no information and having no legal consent to do so. This is blatant criminal conduct by the state. The medical workers represent the state inside of that state facilitating venue, the jails. Okay, this is P.O.C. Not only are they monitoring, they're engaging in criminal obstruction, which is criminal defamation, in order to silence the targeted individual who is in any way documenting, reporting, exposing the state for federal group stalking and monitoring. And so this is March 6th. I am then transferred back to West Valley, and I remain inside of a mental ward in area 15E as in Edward from March 6th until April 21st, when I am released in the wee hours of the morning. So it goes into April 22nd where I'm released. Okay, there is no trial. There is no court hearing set. There is nothing. That I am released from indefinite confinement in a mental ward until I held up signs on the cameras in the facility, right? Speaking to that which I am documenting now on Facebook Live. And I was released. No explanation, just released from what was a criminal detention, being kidnapped and being criminally defamed. Okay, September 25th, while I am engaged in the ongoing documentation of the state, helicopter flying over, the airplanes flying over, the third parties at Economy Inn, 2301 South Euclid Avenue. And before September 25th, I engaged in a mountain of documentation. It is already established P.O.C. at this venue. What they engage in is criminally summoning the police, providing place for them to be visibly present, because they are always present, stalking in relevant positioning, as you hear in the background, using their sirens to monitor as they are listening to me document their criminal conduct. That's a psychopath, by the way. This is a psychopathic behavioral pattern. This is while the Ontario police show up, Ontario Police Officer Morris and Kemp engage in kidnapping. Okay, they kidnapped me on September 25th. September 26th, sitting hours in the cell waiting to be closed and classified. I am not classified. They take me off of camera, put me in a back cell, cell 4 across from outer cell 2, cut off my clothes after they handcuff me, and come in, 3 deputies come in, cut off my clothes, and forcibly put on the mental ward uniform. Take me to area 9C7, and then I remain in that area until October 9th, where they moved me to area 15E as in Edward. I went to 15E2, and then I went to 15E6, where ongoing ceaseless criminal monitoring with communication devices the entire time I was kidnapped. From September 25th, P.O.C. is absolutely unhindered. The state is constantly stalking with light, constantly stalking by aircraft, constantly stalking by police, constantly stalking with light, okay? And amplifying all manner of sound that the third parties inside of the jail are intentionally stalking with activity, okay? This is the demonic aspect. They're able to hear what the human ear cannot hear, and this is how they engage in stalking with audible activity, which is how you monitor, okay? Keeping you surrounded with activity, that's element number 2, that's monitoring. They engage in stalking, that is following. Every move that I make, every new gesture, every movement, or any change thereof, activity, audible activity follows, okay? The use of inanimate objects to do so, demonic, okay? Amplification of sound while they are following with activity, all right? This is P.O.C. Inside of the jail, which I referenced the cameras inside of that jail the entire time. This is crucial documentation inside of the West Valley jail. And so this is showing the clothes that were cut off of my person. Sexual assault and battery by Deputy Sharp, badge number 2919. Deputy Bellamy, badge number 2623, and Deputy Dominguez, not only documented through this, but also on the facility cameras again. And again, with regard to kidnapping, where that is the fact pattern, you're talking about prison, and this is a matter of justice. This is required, where the state fully intends to take the liberty of the targeted individual permanently. This is why you engage in a fictitious prosecution. This is why you place them in a mental ward. This is why you kidnap them, because you intend to take their liberty permanently. But for any documentation, any exposure, okay, of their criminal conduct, all right? That's what this is. And that's what their purpose was. Every deputy, every inmate, every medical worker, they are acting in concert to defame and to keep kidnapped and to keep in that circumstance in order to silence and keep from the prosecution of the state. Every single last one of them to be prosecuted and placed in federal prison. And not just in federal prison. The reason why I'm speaking to the context, you're talking about a demonic system. This is engaging in any of the criminal elements, 1, 2, or 3, light, activity, and relevant positioning, okay, which is mere presence in my path, okay? And this is that which they were all engaged in on camera inside of the facility, engaging in absolute psychopathic conduct as a group, engaging in constant ongoing sexual violation as a group, engaging in ongoing harassment and targeting as a group. Every single last one of them worthy of federal prison. Okay, and that for a prolonged amount of time, nothing lightly taken, and that's what is revealed on the facility cameras. This is what the state has been engaging in, the state has been practicing, and my documentation serves to expose that and to prosecute the state and to prosecute every state actor, all right? Every inmate, every medical worker, every single deputy, federal prison, and they do not get out. Because they have every intention, and this is what they have been doing, is criminally taking the liberty of the targeted individual and defaming them. And that's how they do so. I am literally documenting how the state is engaging in federal group stalking and monitoring and criminal obstruction via defamation. Okay, it is criminal defamation because it serves an incredibly and unprecedented level of criminal activity by a government that is monitoring you and presenting an unprecedented level of a threat. Okay, so this is no small thing when you are engaging in defamation, no small thing when you are speaking defamation. You are facilitating the state's criminal conduct. You are presenting a threat. You are vicariously acting on behalf of that government. This is no small thing. You're talking about prosecution all the way around every documented aspect of it. Okay, this is P.O.C. and this is just to show the cut up clothing that the deputies did in the jail when I was kidnapped and while I remain subject to ongoing monitoring. It is currently Monday, December 7, 2020. It is 9:38 p.m. and I'm doing this live because the state engaged in stuttering my communication device. You hear the sirens, they're monitoring, trying to stop me from uploading the video that I made of the same information. So I'm doing it live. This is criminal obstruction, seeking to prevent documentation of the state's pattern of conduct. That's P.O.C. Okay, this is the whole thing that I've continuously documented through pictures, screenshots, messing with my communication device, messing with the app's functionality. That's the same P.O.C. While third parties are literally stalking, sitting in their cars, driving past. Understand, driving past is stalking. They are crossing path. They're engaging in criminal element number 1, light activity, 2, visible activity and or audible activity, and 3, relevant positioning as they are crossing path. Okay, and they are doing so as a group. That is how a state systematically monitors with communication devices. That is also how you prosecute every single third party that is documented engaging in and facilitating that criminal conduct that presents an unprecedented level of a threat to the targeted individual. That's P.O.C. I am at Ontario Town Square, where ongoing monitoring is occurring, and as I move anywhere, go anywhere, monitoring is continuous.